Consultants fail to meet client requirements 70% of the time. 70%. That's a huge number. And I'm willing to wager that 70% of that 70% is not even due to a lack of competence. It's due to a misalignment between what the client expected and what you proposed. And that misalignment often starts right at the beginning, at the point where you communicate your value. The thing about us consultants is that we usually communicate our value by listing our services, all sorts of audits and trainings and coaching and implementation, things like that. But the problem here is that we're listing our services without the context of the problems they actually solve. And when we list our services this way, the underlying assumption we're making that we may not realize we're making is that our customers are solution aware, but they're not. Customers barely have a grasp of the full scope of the problem they're facing. And the one thing we can all guarantee is that every customer knows the pain they are feeling for sure. So every of your customer is problem aware to a certain degree. So the solution here is that we as consultants need to lead with the problems we're solving and then talk about what we do within that context, because that's what our clients understand. And when you show up to somebody feeling pain and are able to articulate the depth of the problem they're having, possibly underlying causes and things like that, in that moment, you already establish some alignment and clarity and trust with that client. And that's exactly what this video is about. My goal for this video is to help you understand this problem-centric approach to building a consulting business, because not only will it allow you to attract more of the kind of clients you want, it will also give you a pathway to scaling your consultancy. Later in this video, we'll take a look at what problem-centric consulting means, why it matters, and I'll also share a framework that you can use to turn your existing services into offers that actually stand out to your prospects. Okay, so let's start with a simple question. Why offers instead of services? I'm sure many consultants can relate to the feast and famine cycle. What I mean by that is we spend weeks upon weeks pitching and then chasing conversations and then hopping from proposal to proposal, and then one job lands and we service the job and then we back out again, pitching, conversating, and all of that, right? And that life, I think we can all agree, is exhausting, is highly competitive because everybody's doing it, and it's unpredictable. And this has been me too. This is my story as well. But one of the things I did come to realize is that a big reason why this is the reality for most consultants is because we are undifferentiated. What we're selling, everybody's selling. Who we're pitching to, everybody else is pitching to as well. And the thing about this is that since everybody else is doing it, the services have become commodity. And when the thing becomes commodity like that, it becomes a thing of, okay, who is the cheapest person we can get? But transformation is never a commodity. That's what your customers are truly buying when they buy your services. They want to be transformed from an old way of being to a new way of being. From somebody who has a particular set of problems to somebody who has overcome that set of problems. That's what they're really buying. So the idea here is that you should meet your clients at the point of their need. And if you're able to demonstrate that you understand the problems they're currently having and are able to transform them into somebody that doesn't have that problem anymore, they're most likely to go with you over somebody that just comes and tells them that they offer the same services that you do without explaining the context of the problems they solve. I'll share some examples a little bit later, but the idea here is that the way to stand out as a consultant is to anchor yourself in your audience's problems. And there are two ways you can do that. One is by positioning. And by positioning, what I really mean is that the way you talk about what you do. So look at these two examples. I'm a brand strategist and web designer. That's me listing my services. As compared to, I help startups prepare for their Series A pitch. Now, the second way to anchor yourself in your audience's problems is by making offers. Now, the simplest definition I have for an offer is a productized service. Again, look at these two examples. We offer web design and brand strategy services. That's the list of services. As compared to, we help you get pitch deck ready for your Series A in just 3 days. We'll help you refine your messaging. We will rehearse with you until you're ready, and we'll help you build a landing page to make the investors trust you a little bit better. Now, I'm sure that can be tightened a little bit better, but I hope you're seeing the idea of leading with the problems you solve rather than just listing the services you offer. And by doing it that way, you can see that it's clear who the offer is for, what problems it solves, and what solution it delivers. And why doing it this way matters is because, like I said, your customers are problem aware. They're not solution aware. And what I mean by that is nobody wakes up in the morning and is like, I would like us to change our IT infrastructure. I just prefer a better one. They wake up with problems like, this company is bleeding money. Where is the leakage from? somebody find it because investors are on my back, my boss is on my back, things like that. Or why are we having downtime for the 50th time this month? What's going on? Those are the problems they have. And so if you show up in that kind of scenario as somebody that understands the problem, the scope of the problem, the underlying issues, help them to understand the problem a little bit better, and then possibly show them possible solutions to the problem, you become an obvious choice. You become an obvious partner in their eyes, as different from showing up as somebody that does IT infrastructure or showing up as somebody that does business intelligence, whatever it is you sell, right? Meet them at the point of the problem and you have their attention. And the benefits of doing things this way are huge, because now you have easier sales conversations, because you're not trying to sell them services. You're showing them you're having this pain. You're clearly having this pain. Do you want to solve it? What is the cost of not solving this? You're able to charge a little bit more than your peers, because again, you're leading with value. You're helping them to see that I understand this pain you're having, and I know that this pain is costing you a lot of money. So you have better leverage as somebody that can actually help them to solve it, assuming that you can actually help them to solve it and demonstrate that you can help them to solve it. And then the other thing is that you now have the avenue to differentiate and scale your consultancy potentially. You're differentiated because you're no longer like every other person that is selling services. You're showing up as a problem solver. And then you can scale your services, because by focusing on one particular problem, you can actually design your service in a way that can scale. But if you're serving everybody and you're solving every kind of problem, it's difficult to scale that kind of operation, if that makes sense. So for the 100th time already in this video, the shift is simple but powerful. Stop presenting yourself as somebody that offer services. Present yourself as somebody that understands problems and is able to solve them. And what that means for you is that you need to be obsessive about the problems you want to solve. You need to define the problem and obsess massively about those problems, because the more you know, the more you're able to demonstrate it, the easier it is for you to solve, the more leverage you have, if that makes sense. So the good news is that building this kind of offers is not that difficult to do, but to make it even easier for you, I have developed a framework you can follow step by step and design your own offers that way. You can follow the video to do your offer by yourself, but if you want to do it later, you can also click the link in the description to download the framework for free, and then you can do it in your own time. Before we go into the framework, I think it's important for us to be aligned on what an offer really is. So here's a slightly extended definition of what an offer is from the definition I gave before. And an offer is a structured promise of transformation from problem to solution to outcome. 3 parts: problem, solution, outcome. And so at its core, an offer is made up of 3 parts. One is the pain point. And of course, the pain point is connected to the avatar. So what is the problem and who's facing the problem? Number 2 is the solution and the impact of the solution. So what outcome are you promising? If they take this offer, what will change for them? And of course, that's connected to the things you're going to do to make that change happen. But make no mistake, the change, the outcome, the promise of the outcome takes precedence over the things you're going to do to make that outcome happen, if that makes sense. And number 3 is the certainty of the outcome. How can they trust that you're going to make this transformation happen? Another way to frame that: what can you do to make it easy for them to say yes to your offer? So by putting these 3 things together, you present them with a pathway for solving their problems and the outcomes they want. You present them with a pathway from where they currently are to a desired future they're trying to get to, transformation. Those 3 parts I just explained make up the core of the framework we're going to be going through. The framework in all has 5 parts. 1, we'll look at the audience and the pain points. 2, we'll look at the solution and the impact. 3, we'll look at the certainty of outcome. 4, we'll look at format and delivery. And 5, we'll look at price and value anchor. So let's get into it. So 1, defining the pain point and the avatar. The idea here is to get granular about the problem you're solving and who you're solving the problem for. For example, as a brand strategist, one of the things I offer is helping people to fine-tune their messaging. Fine-tune the messaging for a startup that wants to raise its Series A round is different from fine-tuning the messaging for a large corporation that just had a massive, M&A. And it's different from fine-tuning the message for an emissions accounting firm. Those are different people. And so the context of the problem I'm solving with the same service is different. So that's why it's important to dial in. Now, the issue that usually happens here is that we're often a bit scared to specialize in that way because we feel like we'll lose customers. But the idea is, in your communications, you lead with this. We do X for Y. But if somebody comes to you and says, okay, again, back to the brand strategy example, if I specialize in helping startups to fine-tune their messaging for their Series A pitch, and somebody else, maybe a cousin of mine that is a high-ranking fellow in some large corporation, a large bank that just did an M&A and likes what I do and trusts me enough and says, hey, I would like you to be the brand strategist on board to help us to do that. Yeah, if you feel you have to take the job, but just don't announce that, yeah, we do M&As and we do this, especially as a small operation. If you're a McKinsey and one of the big guys, feel free, generalize all you want. But I'm talking about us that are small consultancies. It helps if we specialize because we're able to scale our operations that way. Ideally, you want to not take projects outside of the things you specialize at. But of course, life is life. And sometimes, especially depending on where you are with growth of your business, you will have to take those jobs. But I'm just saying, from a communications point of view, at the very least, lead with this particular problem, get granular on the problem you're solving and who you're solving it for. Because what it does is it makes it easier for who you're talking to identify, to understand, to relate with what you're saying. So that's defining the problem and the avatar. You need to get granular. The idea is to get as specialized as possible because we're trying to differentiate here. We're trying to differentiate ourselves from the rest of the pack, and we do that by specializing. 2, define the solution and the impact you want to have. And like I said before, the impact takes precedence over the solution. The impact takes precedence over the services, right? So in defining this, we're defining the transformation we're doing. For example, in just 3 days, we'll have you ready to pitch to your investor. And what we will do is we'll help you refine your messaging and build the right narrative so that your investor can relate to what you're saying. Will help you to rehearse your pitch and find out loopholes and potential pushbacks and things like that so that you're prepared for pushback when that comes. And then we'll help you to build a landing page to kind of bring what you're saying to life so that it looks real and then your investor can trust you a little bit more, right? So we started with the impact, which is we'll have you ready to pitch in just 3 days. And then we now followed up that with we're going to do this, we're going to do that, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. So that's leading with the impacts and then using the solution to explain the vehicle for making the impact, if that makes sense. Certainty of outcome. One of the biggest fears of your customer when you're pitching to them and offering something to them is, will this thing you're saying work for me? I have a problem. I need to be sure that what you're saying is going to work. And that's the whole thing we're doing when we're pitching and we're writing proposals and, we're facing a panel of people asking questions about what we put in our proposal and things like that. They're trying to ascertain, will this guy deliver on what he says he will? That's the point. So every offer, if it's to make it easy for your clients to say yes, has to have some sort of built-in certainty of outcome. So that certainty can come from a few places. One of them is to show them a clear step-by-step process, because what that does is that it shows that you know what you're talking about. It shows that you're clear on the path from where they are to where they want to be. And so when you're pitching and they're poking holes in all the things you're saying, the whole idea is they're trying to see if you know what you're saying, if that makes sense, right? I'm preaching to the choir here. The other thing you can do to prove that certainty is things like track records, so testimonials and past clients and things of that nature, success stories, things like this. If you're able to share those, that also helps in building trust. And then the third thing you can do is to reverse the risk. So you can do things like adding milestones or adding some kind of guarantee to the work and things of that nature. If you're able to reduce the risk for them, you're going a long way to prove that you're certain that this thing is going to work. So basically, your impact and solution tells them what you're going to do, and then the certainty of outcome helps to answer the question, are you really going to do it? Can I trust you to do it? If that makes sense. Again, to drive this one with an example, 2 examples to be exact, to kind of compare. So example A is without the certainty of outcome, and that will help you get pitch deck ready in 3 days. As compared to, we'll help you get pitch deck ready in 3 days, and we'll help you do that by tightening your message. And then we have this process, the P&Q process, that we've used to help 12 startups already, and we've raised $450 million combined. Something like that. So that kind of shows them that, okay, they've done this before and they have been success before. You also need to be able to demonstrate that you can do it. So in that second scenario, you can see how on top of the great offer, we show track record of doing this and show a clear process of doing this as well. With those kind of things, it makes it easier to say yes to your offer. Format and delivery. For most consultants, we usually have one format, and it's something to the effect of full service consulting. Will help you to do advisory and we'll also do implementation. And although that's valuable, it's also limiting, because if the only way people can work with you is to do a full service thing, then you're leaving a lot of money on the table, basically. And sometimes people may not know to actually approach you on a level lower than full service consulting. And what usually happens is that we always offer full service consulting unless somebody that actually knows comes to say, I don't want the full service thing. I just need advice on this, or I need training on blah, blah, blah. That's when we then decide that, okay, yeah, we'll do training as well, and then we'll do the training for them and things like that. This is most people. But the stronger approach is to design your formats across several delivery models. And I'm sure most of us know this. We know about the DIY, do-it-yourself offers, done with you offers, and then done for you offers. So done for you offers are usually implementation. Done with you are things like workshops, strategy sessions, things like that, advisory. And then do it yourself is training. You teach them something that they go and implement themselves, right? So you as a consultant needs to have offers across each of these formats, because by doing that, you make it easier for your prospects to engage with you at different levels of budget, at different levels of urgency, and things like that. Now, this is where Daniel Priestley's framework for creating offers comes into play. If you don't know who Daniel Priestley is, his work makes a lot of these things fantastic. Like, he has a lot of playbooks for consultants, and his latest book, actually, I'm not sure if that's his latest book. One of his books, Key Person of Influence, I think is something that every consultant should study in 2025, because it's kind of a framework, a playbook for success as a consultant. But that's by the way. Daniel's framework suggests that every expert business should have 4 types of offers. You should have a gift, you should have a product for prospects, you should have a core offer, and a product for customers. I'm going to go through each one of them briefly. Number 1, the gift offer. The gift offer is something you give away for free, and examples are the framework PDF that you can download that I'm giving out for free in this video, lead magnets and things like that. And all of these kind of offers fall under the DIY category, because you're giving people information that they can go and execute on their own. And the purpose of the gift is to help you to generate leads, to give people an opportunity to signal that they are interested in the things you offer. And then it also helps you to build authority. And then we have product for prospects. This usually falls under the done with you category. And the whole idea here is to present people a low risk, high value engagements that gives fast results. And these are typically offers that are low ticket, to kind of get people a feel for working with you, to help them to solve a little problem, something like that. So for examples are like a paid audit, a paid workshop, a strategy sprint, things like this. It's just something to get people into your ecosystem, get a feel for what it's like to work with you, if that makes sense. And then the purpose of this is to build trust some more, qualify serious buyers, and help you to demonstrate value. The third one is the core offer. Now, this should be your flagship product. This is where the advisory plus implementation comes in, right? So this is the done for you category of things. And the purpose of this one is the primary revenue driver. It's almost like all road leads to your core offer, right? The way to think about it is like a ladder, because some people will actually come into your ecosystem and go directly to your core offer, right? That happens. But sometimes you have to walk them up a value ladder. They start with the free thing, and then they move on to the low ticket thing, and then to the high ticket thing, and things like that. And then the fourth one is your product for customers. And the purpose of this is to help you deepen your relationship with people that are already your customers. So offers like this usually fall within the done with you category. So usually some kind of advanced coaching or advanced advisory, retainers, things like that. The main purpose of this should be to increase loyalty and lifetime value of your customer. So those are the 4 offers that every expert-led business should have. And this is the big takeaway. Don't stop at one offer. You need a suite of offers. You don't just have to have only 4 offers. You can have multiple offers under one kind of offer, under one category of offer. Usually, especially in the gift category, people always come up with lead generation every single time. If you look at a lot of the content creators, especially in the B2B space, or the content creators that help people to grow, that are businesses, you usually find that with every post, they'll say, they'll teach you something and then tell you download more templates like this by clicking the link, or, send a DM and I'll send you this. They are always creating gifts because you need to give people several ways to enter your ecosystem. And then when they enter your ecosystem, you can walk them up the value ladder as much as you need to do. You can qualify the ones that are serious. And the ones that are not serious buyers, quote unquote, may not be serious buyers today, doesn't mean they won't be serious buyers next year. So you keep them within your ecosystem and keep them engaged and keep giving them value and things like that. And so when you have this multi-touch, multi-access into your ecosystem, you're building a system that can allow you to scale. You're building a system that can make your business a bit more predictable. Because when you have a lot of people in your ecosystem, you have things that can attract people to your ecosystem. It's just a question of, depending on where you are in your business, it's a question of pulling levers. So maybe at some point, the issue is that you don't have enough people in your ecosystem that you know the lever to pull to attract people into your ecosystem. And if it's that you're not closing enough, then you need to pull on that lever to qualify your prospects better and sell to them better, if that makes sense. But the idea is to have to have multiple access points into your ecosystem, but you need to build the ecosystem first, if that makes sense. And then the last part of the framework is the price and value anchor. And the main idea here is to present your offer in a way that makes the monetary value small compared to the value you're delivering. Here are 3 ways to do it. One is to contrast the cost of the offer to the cost of the problem. So if you're able to demonstrate to them that this problem you have is costing you $10 million a year, but I'm offering you $20,000 to help you plug the leakage, it kind of contrasts the value of the 2 of them and makes them feel like they're getting a lot for what they're putting in monetary wise. The second one is to compare with alternatives. And this one is a fantastic playbook, especially for small consultancies. Yeah, you can hire McKinsey, you can hire the big guns to help you to do your thing, but they will charge you 250 million naira every single month. We're just charging you 50 million naira every single month. So you can go with them if you want, but if you want us to focus solely on your thing while they focus on you and many other people, fine. So it's a playbook. Of course, some people will say they would rather still go with the big firm than you, but it's something you can do to demonstrate that what you're paying compared to what other people are charging that will deliver on the level that I'm going to deliver, you're getting a lot less from me than from them. And then the third is to stack the value. Okay, this is the core of the offer. I'm going to help you deliver on X, but you also get this thing and then this book, and then you get to jump on a call with me twice every week for the next 3 months, and then you stack and stack and stack and stack and stack. That makes it easier for them to say, okay, this guy is giving me a ton of value compared to what they're asking me to pay, right? So these are the 3 ways that you can actually anchor your price with the value of the project and to kind of present it in such a way that compared to the value you're getting, what you're paying is not a lot. And it's important to demonstrate this because people often go with, I'm charging you because that's the industry standard. No, charge because of the value you're bringing. And if you're able to demonstrate the value you're bringing and then furthermore contrast it with what you're charging, I help them to see that what they're getting compared to the money they're paying is way more, then it makes it easier for them to say yes to what you're offering them, if that makes sense. So the key takeaway, or a better way of saying what I just said, is that don't just float your price. Anchor it. Show them that what they're paying for is worth multiple times what you're charging them. It makes it easier for them to say yes that way. Okay, so at this point, you've seen how to move from selling services to selling offers, and I've given you an actual template you can use. Now, it's time to start doing it for yourself. I'm giving you two templates. One is a positioning template to help you to talk about what you do from the problem-centric angle. And then the second one is an offer template to help you to draft a structured offer for your prospects. So here's the positioning template. I help specific audience solve pain or problems so that they can achieve a desired outcome. For example, I help B2B startups prepare for their Series A pitch so they can confidently raise capital. So you don't have to get stuck in the template I provide. The template just is the starting point. When you fill in those brackets with the right information, you can then reword and rephrase in a way that rolls off the tongue for you. But the idea is that you must capture everything in those brackets in whatever you're saying to people that you do, if that makes sense. Now for the offer template, name of offer, the idea here is that you should brand your offer, right? For example, the workshops I do, I call them the Be Resonant workshop, right? I have my core offer, which is called the Resonance Engine, things like that. The idea is for you to have a catchy name for your offer. It makes it nice and branded. It makes it easier to remember, if that makes sense. So name of offer is designed for specific audience who are struggling with a pain point. It helps them to achieve the outcome or result by list of solutions or methods in a particular time frame. To make this offer even more valuable, you will also get bonus, as many bonuses as you need to. And then we provide this through particular delivery format. Again, this is the do-it-yourself, done with you, or done for you, the full service format, giving you the flexibility to choose how closely we work together. We're so confident in the outcome that again, you state the guarantee or trust builder. This is where testimonials comes in and things like that. And then you talk about the investment. So the price are anchored against the value of the problem, like we said. So this is the price, but this is what you're getting, that kind of thing. So for example, the Pitch Ready program is designed for early stage startups who are preparing to raise Series A but don't feel confident in their pitch. It helps them to secure investor confidence by clarifying their narrative, rehearsing their pitch, and designing a trust building landing page, all in 3 days. To make this offer even more valuable, you get a video recording of your rehearsed pitch for internal practice, plus a template pack for investors Q&A prep. We provide this through a workshop format, blending advisory and hands-on execution. We're so confident that you'll be investor ready that if you don't feel pitch ready after the workshop, we will continue working with you one-on-one until you do. And if after that you still don't feel ready, we're going to refund your money. The investment is just $5,000, and you know that's a fraction of missing out on a funding round. So again, in the case of the offer, obviously that is a rough sketch of your offer. The idea is to start there, fill that form, answer those questions, or come up with the information that goes in each one of those brackets, and then refine as much as you need. Use ChatGPT here or whatever AI platform you use. Refine it. Just make sure that those key ingredients are inside your offer, because those are the things that will make your offer come out as valuable to them, attractive to them, make it easy for them to say yes, if that makes sense. So finally, I will leave you with this. As a consultant, what you're selling is transformation. We're not selling services. We're not selling advisory. We're not selling any of that. We're selling transformation. The services we offer are merely a vehicle that we use to transform our clients' businesses. So if you found that valuable, I would appreciate if you like the video, drop a comment, ask any questions you want about what I just talked about. I'll be very happy to respond to those. If you need the printout, or rather the PDF of the framework, click the link in the description. If you want to find out more about what I do, go to the link in the description as well, claritylab.ng. That's the name of my consulting practice. And if you want to work with me to develop your own product ecosystem, also click the link in the description. Schedule a one-on-one private workshop and we'll go from there. Finally, I hope you have a good one, and I will see you in the next one.